Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV, all the way from the Gold Coast here in Australia. And it's absolutely a beautiful, I suppose, autumn day here where the temperature's a little bit cooler and we've got some soft rain falling. So wherever you are in this world of ours, I hope you're enjoying your night or your day or your late afternoon, depending on which part of the world you're in. And it's really exciting today. I just want to share with you, I've been on air with you guys now for 111 shows. So that's a pretty big event, I think, 3-1. So it's nice to be able to sort of acknowledge that. And I know very little about numerology. All I can tell you is that I'm a number one. So I feel the 3 1s are significant. It's unfortunate that we have to start the show off again with asking everybody to keep in their prayers and their thoughts and give a thought to the people of California and at the synagogue on the weekend that tragically lost some of their family and their friends to yet again another shooting. I really don't understand what's wrong with the world, why that we've got to keep having these events week after week. It seems to be every week we seem to be sort of talking about this, and it's time now for some sort of peace. Wouldn't it be lovely if we could achieve world peace, as, you know, John Lennon sang about in many, many songs, that, you know, love makes the world go round, and what we're all seeking is peace. And it would be nice if we could see that in our lifetime and in honour of many people that have gone before us. Anyway, to kick the show off this week, we're starting with the Simply Tarot card of the week, and this week it's the King of Swords. Now, I don't think we've actually ever featured this one on the show before. The King of Swords is a court card, or what's known as a court card, which means it represents a person. Now, in this instance, the King of Swords is a man to the age of 25 years of over 25 years of age. He can have brown hair, brown eyes, could also have grey hair or greying eyes. His energy is cold, abrasive, and demands authority. Now, in the very, very old teachings of tarot and the old teachings of working with ordinary playing cards, the King of Swords, or what's known as the King of Spades in the ordinary playing deck, was seen to be a widower or a divorcee. Now, in these modern sort of times, I don't think that we can necessarily apply that principle to anybody that's of this colouring. So I don't actually bring that into the court card. Now, how does this affect everybody on a weekly basis? Now, when we draw a card like this for the week and we draw a court card, what this means is it's not necessarily we're going to run into 15, you know, brown-haired men with brown eyes in the next 7 days. But what it means is that we can all take on board the energy of the King of Swords, which is learned to be a little bit more cold, a little bit more abrasive, and if the situation requires it, demand respect. So it's not the time to be sort of opening your mouth and sharing with everybody everything that's on your mind. It's a time to be sort of a little bit, let's take a step back. Is this information vital that I need to share with you, or do I need to be sort of zippering my mouth a little bit and keeping quiet? Sometimes it might need to be a little bit more forceful or abrasive in the way that we deliver a message. That doesn't give us the right to be rude. There's a very distinct difference between abusive and being rude to being abrasive. Abrasive to me means getting your point across with determination and authority. So that's why we come back to the third part of the card, demanding respect. So, okay, so moving on with our little glimpse around the universe this week, I'm really excited to sort of talk about this week, and is the fact that we're going to be working with the new moon. Now, it's the new moon in Taurus this week. So the 4th of May this week, we're moving into the new moon. So as I like to work with, and I'm very naughty, I forgot to get my candles ready. Aren't I naughty? Okay, well, we'll do that now so that I've leaned across the set and got them for you. So working with the new moon candle, so what we would be doing is we would be writing a list, and we would be putting on the list the new things that we want to bring into our lives in the next month or so. So you may be starting some new projects. You might want to sort of start a new diet. You might want to start a new job. Anything that you want to put on your list, so you can put a minimum of 3 things on there. You can put as many things on there as you like, and you can keep crossing them off as you achieve them, and keep the list on going for the next new moon if you wish. It's entirely your choice. I like to work with a minimum of 3 things, and they don't always have to be material things. They can be simple things like wishing to achieve something new in your life that might be of a small scale. It might be something like sort of trying to be a better person, you know, that you really feel lately that you've been a bit cranky and a little bit short-tempered with people. Well, maybe the new thing that you want to bring into your life in the next month is that you have more patience. and more tolerance of people. So the new moon is a very positive candle to work with. It's one of my favourites. It's French vanilla. So, and we write exactly the same identical list as we work with our earth sign candle, which is this one in this case is the Taurus candle, but it also works for Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn. So again, we would write an identical list again, and working with, I always like to work with on a 7-day process. So I work with 2 days before the new moon, which will be here in Australia tomorrow. I will be starting on the 2nd. So I will be starting to burn my candle for 15 minutes to 2 hours. I would read my list out aloud as I then light the candle, and I put leave the candle burning, as I said, for 15 minutes to 2 hours. So, and I do that on a 7-day process. I like to work 2 days before the new moon. Then I allow 3 days of the new moon, as the new moon is approximately 2.5 days. And then I allow 2 days on the decline. So that what we're doing is we're working with a 7-day focus of working with the moon and allowing the moon to bring to us the things that we need towards us. Now, for those of you that work with crystals, I'm not the person to ask about which moon or whether you put them in salt water or put them out under the moon to bake. I really have little or no knowledge in that. I still work with mine in the way, the few that I've got, in whatever I feel is the right thing. But I know that that's not the right thing for me to teach you. There is plenty of people out there that do work with crystals, and that is their very strong suit. It's not one of mine. So this week I sort of also want to talk to you about that we still have the planet Uranus moving through Taurus, and he will be there for quite some time yet. And Uranus is the planet of the unusual and the unexpected. So for many people around the world, they may have felt that there's been some times earlier this year, and can be still happening now for another couple of years, where something happens out of the blue, something that you weren't expecting, something that's come in left of field, and all of a sudden it's rocked you at your foundation, and you sort of stand there frozen in a moment of time thinking, what next? How do I handle this? This literally took my breath away. I wasn't expecting it. How do I go about sort of rebooting my life and moving forward? All as I can suggest to you is with the planet Uranus of the unusual and unexpected in Taurus, yes, it will work in a very fast, dynamic way, like a bolt of lightning. But after we've had that immediate impact, can I suggest to you that then you allow some dust to settle and you bring in the Taurus energy, which is slow, deliberate, definite. Look at how this affects you on a financial front. Look at how this affects your belief systems and the things that are important to you. Is there needing to be a change? Is there needing to be a revamp of how you structure something? So it can be, even though it's a sudden situation, it may be sudden to break up the monotony or to get you out of the rut, but then the follow-up or the direction behind it may have a very lengthy time frame connected to it. There might be fast bits to it, and then there might be a much slower, deliberate, definite follow-up that could take years before we bring it to fruition. So don't be in too much of a hurry. Allow things to take place at the level that they need to. So this week I chose for our famous actress, we're up to the sign of Aquarius, so it's sort of all things that are unusual and different. And this week I'm really pleased and excited to talk about Farrah Fawcett. Now, Farrah Fawcett was an amazing actress. She hasn't been with us now for many, many years, but I feel she was the epitome of the Aquarian. She dared to do something different. She dared to do things that other people hadn't done previously or prior to her. She was born Farrah with an F-E, and she changed it to F-A to Farrah because nobody could spell her name, and she felt that it would have more impact that way. She, interestingly enough, started her career as a model. And that doesn't surprise me because she was drop dead gorgeous. She was a stunning woman with the most beautiful hair, and she always looked very feminine and ready, you know, full of action and ready to go, and always had a really nice energy about her that came across on the screen. So she started out as a model, and she went on to do a poster as the woman in the red swimsuit. Now, this poster ended up being the biggest selling poster of all time on a swimsuit model. So that's how Farrah Fawcett really got discovered for a television career, was because of that poster. Now, many of you will know Farrah Fawcett as being one of the original Charlie's Angels. She was the one with the long blonde hair who seemed to always have this winning smile and got herself into mischief in and out of things with fluttering her eyelashes. And I know there was many envious women around the world when she married Lee Majors, the $6 million man, and didn't they make a glamour couple for the time that they were married? But more importantly, I don't think Farrah ever really received the accolades or the recognition for her dramatic work. And that was where I, as much as I was a big fan of Charlie's Angels and I enjoyed that show, I feel that Farrah really came into her own as an actress, as a dramatic actress. And I can remember seeing both of these movies, and I've actually watched them a couple of times each, looking at them at the time thinking, wow, I didn't believe she was that type of actress, that she could pull off such a dramatic role. One of them I'm talking about is Burning Bed, and the other one is Small Sacrifices, and both of them were very, very dramatic, kept you on the edge of your seat type of movies. And if you haven't seen them, do yourself a favour and download them and watch them, because they were two of probably the best performances I've ever seen of Farrah Fawcett. So we take our hat off to Farrah Fawcett. She certainly did bring in the epitome of the big hairdos and things like that. And I think women were able to sort of finally feel that they could be themselves, that they could be empowered, they could do anything that they liked, and they didn't necessarily have to have sex appeal to solve a situation. Yes, she was a very glamorous woman, but at the same time she didn't necessarily use her sex appeal in a way that's all people saw about her. They saw that she had intelligence, she was quick-witted, she had a great sense of humour, and it was lovely to sort of see some of these profound statements and the dramatic roles that she played. So next week we'll be featuring our Pisces gentleman. In our final part of the series, we'll be moving into the signs of Pisces. Okay, so let's take our first caller, and we're going to be talking with Carla in Miami, Florida. Are you there, Carla?
Yes, I'm here.
How can I help you tonight, Carla? Do you have a question I can work with, sweetie?
Yes. My main question, after my father's passing, I've kind of lost direction on where I'm supposed to be heading, and I feel like my life is at a complete standstill. So I would like
Carla,
to see
you want to see what, sweetie?
if you can guide me. What am I missing? What did I...
Okay, certainly we can do that. First thing I want to say, Carla, I'm really sorry that you've had a loss of your brother. It's always very difficult when we lose somebody, but I think it's even more difficult when we lose somebody that is our contemporary or a person that's in our age group sort of thing. Your brother wasn't your father or your mother or your uncle. He was your brother. And, all of a sudden I think it makes it very real. It was who, sweetie?
I said it was my father.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said your brother. Okay, so you lost your dad. All right. So, losing a parent is very difficult too, because that leaves a gaping hole in our lives. And I think grief is one of those very personal things, Carla, that we don't talk about enough. We don't talk about the 6 stages of grief, and we don't talk about how it affects each and every one of us in a different way. And it's not that there's a right or a wrong way to grieve. And I think probably the most important thing we need to understand is we need to honour those feelings. We can't heal if we don't honour how we're feeling. This overwhelming sadness, this overwhelming, what do I do now? I feel so lost. If I'd only had one more day, I could have told Dad this or that or the other. There's always going to be those sort of feelings. Even I think if we knew somebody was going, I still think there's something that we still feel that we should have said. And my personal belief on that is that we get to say the things to everybody that we need to, just because we as humans feel that left here on earth that there's still another conversation we could have had. Well, maybe that's a conversation we have when we join them on the other side too, a bit later down the track. But it's interesting because your dad's sort of showing me that he doesn't want you to sort of just stand still. He doesn't want you to be frozen in this moment. He's accepted the fact that it was his time. I'm also going to say to you, I think he had an inkling that his time was close, And if you're able to cast your mind back, and not just at this second, but when you get a chance and allow your thoughts to come in and out, you'll probably see there was a little bit of a pattern there where he started to talk about things from his past, way back in his early childhood, things like that. It was as if he was taking a trip down memory lane. And I feel that that happened over a period of months as he was getting ready to sort of make his departure from the earthly plane. I feel that there will be some changes for you this year, but I just want to sort of say to you, Carla, for the moment, allow yourself to just be. There doesn't have to be a race to get certain things done or to sort of move things forward in your life. Allow yourself to be in the moment and do your healing, do your grieving and do your sorting out, and whatever the emotion is, that wherever it takes you is where it's meant to be. I do know after June, it's sort of slowly we're starting to sort of crank the wheels back up to your life again, and you're starting to feel a little bit more enthusiastic and ready to sort of take the reins again and sort of make some changes in your life. Have you sort of been thinking about, or has there been some sort of ideas in your head about the potential of making some changes to where you're living or a potential move of residence?
Yes. We are trying to purchase a new home, hopefully within a year,
right,
for my family altogether.
Well, I do see the purchase of a new home, but I'm not seeing it until after June. So it's sort of like, you know, we're on the right track with that. And I feel that that's a good thing. That's sort of showing me that you've put something off. And I'm going to take this back to you personally. Was there a doctor's appointment or something that you should have gone to that you just haven't felt up to going to do yet? He's not sharing with me that there's anything to be alarmed about. He's just sort of showing it to me as in it's now time to get back to our regular routine. You know, if you have a routinely doctor's visit once a year for a checkup, then it's time to get back into that groove. He's not saying to me that there's anything wrong. I want to be very clear on that. He's just wanting you, I think, to slowly start to get back into the routine of life. That's what he's wanting.
Wow, yes, that's very true. I missed two of my doctor's appointments because I just didn't feel like visiting a hospital. And my mom keeps telling me, you know, you need to go, you know, you need to go. Why are you letting things just, you know, pass you by? And that was something he was always very big about.
Well, I can understand that, not wanting to go back to a hospital when you spent so much time there with your dad before his passing. Of course, it's all too very painful. And to someone else, you know, like your mum, she's sort of concerned because you've missed these appointments and what if something was wrong and you've let it go too long. I can understand it from mum's point of view too. But sometimes for those that are left behind, it's sometimes too hard to go back to places like a hospital. Just any hospital will bring back those memories that you're not ready to deal with yet. But Dad's asking you, can you do him a favour? Can you reschedule them and go back and do them? Because I think he wants you to get back into the swing of life, number one. But I also feel that he wants you to take that stress off mum too, because mum's worried. He doesn't want to see mum worried. So, you know, your dad's still giving orders from beyond. So, but he's doing it in a loving sort of way. And he doesn't like anybody to be upset. He never did he? He liked everybody to be happy.
Yes, that was it. It was like kept our family.
Yeah, and that's all he's asking. Yeah, and that's all he's asking for is sort of, you know, if you do this thing for yourself, not just for him, but you'll make mum happy and everything will start to sort of, everybody will start to get back into the groove of life again. And that's what he wants now. He feels that there's been enough tears now. And he's not saying you can't have a tear or two, but he wants everybody to start taking the reins to life again and do that in his honour. Because he really loved life. He loved being around people. He liked to see his family happy and smiling, and he wants to see you doing that again. And that's really important, that you need to be able to do that. So I hope that's helped you, Carla.
Yes.
Wonderful. You have a great night, sweetie, and I'll keep you in my prayers. So it's really, really interesting when we have loss and things like this, and just as I was getting ready for the show this morning, and I always have something going on in the background, I had Facebook on, and John Edward, my favourite person in all the world as far as psychic mediums come, he was on there doing a live cross, and he was actually talking about grief and how people sort of handle things like that, and why we sort of look at things and we look for symbols and signs, and we get a bit disappointed when we don't get them in the way that we want, or, you know, I lost somebody 25 years ago and now I haven't had a vision of them being there again. And what do I need to look for? And he explained it in a very good way. He explained it in as much as if we cut our finger and we see the blood, we're aware that we've cut our finger because we see the blood, we feel the pain, whatever. But the actual cut starts to heal, it gets scabs up and it goes away. But we're still aware of the fact that we've got blood coursing through our veins and through our body, and it flows back to our heart, that we don't have to physically sort of cut our finger to see the blood. We know it's there. And he described that as the way of knowing where our loved ones are still with us. You don't need a medium to tell you your loved ones around you. They are. They are all the time. So if you imagine that you can have a conversation with them, that you can talk to them, and you will find your own symbols. They don't always have to be feathers. It can be many different things. It can be a song on the radio. It can be a smell. It can be a butterfly. It's what means to you. So I hope that's going to help Carla and everybody else today. Now we're going to talk to Janet in Atlanta in Georgia. Are you there, Janet? Hello, Janet.
Yes, hello?
Hi, Janet. Do you have a question for me, sweetie?
Yes, I do.
Would you like to share it with me, please?
Yeah, what's my future
What
look
is your
like?
future? Okay, that's a very broad question, Janet, to be asking, but I'll give you what comes through to me. It may not necessarily be the direction that you wanted it, because what's your future is as I said, a very broad outline. The first thing that they're showing me is that there's been a number of endings and changes and transformations over the last 6 to 12 months, but I would be more inclined to sort of say that's intensified over the last 3 to 4 months, or since the beginning of this year. It's also sort of showing me the fact that you now need to have belief in yourself. It's like, if you really want something badly enough, what are you doing to make it happen? It's all well and fine to sort of say, I want change, I want change, I want change. But what are you physically doing to contribute or to instigate this change? They're showing me that, yes, there will be changes. I'm seeing that there's question marks around your income or your capacity to work at the moment. Has there been a reason why there's a question mark around your income?
Yeah, I'm not working.
Okay, so are you looking to get a job?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're showing me that is possible now, and it's like, it's not that you weren't putting the effort in before to find the job. I feel now you've sort of changed direction a little bit at the type of work that you now wish to pursue. And they're saying to me now that we're on the right path, that there will be a job fairly soon. But I feel it starts out as only a temporary or a casual position, and it will lead into a more permanent role over the coming months. So that seems to be very close around you now, and that's good. But I also sort of feel in the second half of this year, there's the potential for a move of residence too, or making changes to where you're living, which seems to make you feel more secure in yourself, because you feel as if you've been sort of floating. You haven't sort of felt settled or secure for over 12 months now, and it's time now that we get you into a position where you've not only got money coming in, but you start to feel secure in your life again, and you also start to feel more worthy in yourself. Whatever happened in your life in this last 2 years, it seemed to knock the stuffing out of you. It took a lot of your confidence away with you, and also your ability to think that you could make a decision that was right. You were questioning everything all the time. I want you to put that in the past now and sort of say, today is a brand new day. I have opportunities now to go forward. I'm capable of taking my life forward because I'm a good, worthy person, and I deserve all the good things that are coming towards me in life. So are you planning to move or make some changes to where you're living when finances allow?
I'm planning to move.
You do have to move, or you're about to move?
I'm about to move.
Okay. Good. Well, I feel that that's a good thing for you. I feel by moving Resonance is a good thing. So is there someone significant in your life at the moment, Janet? Like a love interest?
So what now?
Is there a love interest in your life at the moment? Is there someone special around you?
No, that I know of. No.
Not that you know of. Okay, well, that's fine because there's a new one coming, because I could see towards the later half of this year, around October onwards, I felt that you were going to meet a new love interest, somebody that was going to really put a smile on your face and make your heart sing. So I think all in all, Janet, I think your life is moving very much forward, and I feel that you have an amazing 2019 for the remainder of it heading towards you now that, you know, you've done the hard yards, you've done the hard lessons. It's now time for you to start reaping the rewards. And I think you should give yourself a big gold star for all the hard work you've done on yourself. You've done an amazing job. So is there anything else I can help you with, Janet?
My kids. I'm worried about my kids.
All right. Look, how old are the children?
3 and 1. Twin girls
Oh,
and
they're very
a 3-year-old boy. I got 3.
Right. 2 children. Well, I can appreciate why you're concerned about the children, because, you know, you don't feel that you've been able to give them financially everything that you should be able to give them and give them the life that they deserve. But look, they're very loving little children. They're going to be perfectly fine. And is their dad still around them? Is he having a little bit more input than what he was?
Yes.
Good. Well, I think you should encourage that, because I feel that he's ready to sort of start stepping up to the plate now and taking some of the responsibility for being a parent, which he wasn't doing previously. So that's good. Okay, Janet, that's where we're going to leave it, sweetie. I wish you luck for the future, but I know that you're going to be moving forward in a very, very positive way. So we're coming to the end of the show now. We've only got about 90 seconds left. I want to take the opportunity to thank you for joining me on the show each week. We have a great time each week. For those of you that want to know a little bit more about the new moon in Taurus, why don't you pop over to Facebook to my Amanda Hall page, where I'll be doing a live presentation at the conclusion of this show. So for those of you that want to know more about other areas of psychic stuff, you can always visit my website. There's plenty of posts and shows and things like there for you to catch up on previous workshops and things like that we've done. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, or if you want to email in some suggestions of topics you would like me to talk about on the show in coming weeks, I'm happy to do that. So until next week, wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours, don't forget, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. Open a car door for somebody, you know, let somebody in a queue at a supermarket. Just a smile. Sometimes that can be the only smile or the pleasant words that somebody's had, and it brightens their day so much. So until next week, bye for now.